This is a brief tutorial about how to create a graph in Logger Pro using the data that you've collected from the Circular Motion Wheel Lab. I assume that you've collected 10 data points. Each data point has a delta t, the time that it took the wheel to go around in a full circle, and the acceleration that was measured by the accelerometer. So you've got those. You need to do a calculation to get velocity, and then you need to graph your velocity and acceleration data. We're going to do all that in Logger Pro. First step in this blank page is to label our columns. The X column we're going to call our delta t. Delta t, symbol t, units of seconds. Great. I double-clicked on this. Now I'll double-click here. This is going to be acceleration. Symbol A, meters per second squared. Great. Now you're going to enter your data right in here. So you're just going to copy it off from your data table. I'm entering some data that I just made up. This isn't real data here. And so I'm just showing you how to enter it here. So you just enter numbers here and then a number for the acceleration, and I'll enter a little bit more. Okay, I've entered a few data points, and you can see some points have shown up on my graph. Now, unfortunately, I'm just graphing acceleration versus delta t. That's not what I want. I want to graph acceleration versus velocity. So we're going to have to calculate a velocity. Logger Pro to the rescue. So what you're going to do is go up to the menu up top here and go under the Data menu, scroll down and select New Calculated Column. This calculated column is velocity. Symbol V, units meters per second. Now we're going to enter the mathematical expression in order to calculate it. To do this, the velocity is simply distance over time. In our case, it is the circumference of the circle divided by the time that it took to go around the circle. The circumference is a constant. It is 1.878 meters. We divide that by the time it took to go around the circle. That's delta t. That's what was in this column right here. So we go down here to variables columns, delta t. There's our expression, 1.878 divided by delta t. I hit done, and it has now made a new column for me. Hello? Yes, there it is. So there's our new column, velocity. Now we'd like to, instead of graphing acceleration versus delta t, we like to graph acceleration versus velocity. So I just click down here once, click on velocity, and that's basically it. Now you've got a graph here. If you think, oh my goodness, my graph is all stuffed into one corner, I have a ton of white space, double click on the axes and select, instead of auto scale larger, auto scale from 0 for both the y and x axis. And there you go, you've got your data taking up the whole graph. It's beautiful. You're graphing acceleration versus velocity. Job done.